Welcome to Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson, Mike Grimm, and Justin Gard with you, along with the Golden Gopher head coach Ben Johnson. We have a lot to talk about today. It's game day. The Golden Gophers in Columbus, Ohio, getting ready to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes tonight. We'll start by saying hello to our co-host, Justin Gard.
Am I supposed to say hi back? Is that how we do this? This is pretty formal. You're way too formal with the intro. No one wants to hear from me. They want to hear from Ben Johnson. We got a new microphone today, which everybody's excited about. So let's make sure it's all working, and we're ready, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, we should have the coach give us a little test 1, 2. Coach, good to see you. How's that microphone working?
It's going good. You guys can hear me?
Ooh,
oh, man, it's like you're right next to us. Yeah, it's magic.
The dulcet tones of the head coach right there, no question about it. All right, well, Guardsy, we'll leave you out of it the rest of the way then, since you don't want to be part of the show apparently, and we'll rock and roll here with the head coach. And look, it's always more fun, right, coming off of a win, and Saturday night was a fun night at Williams Arena, Coach.
It was. I thought our guys did a really good job with the details. That's what we're consumed with the days leading up to the game. And you know, as crazy as it sounds, I kept telling them I really didn't care what the score was. I cared about how we played, and I cared about, that we put a full 40 minutes together of all the details that go into offense, defense, coming out of huddles, ATOs, baseline out of bounds, like situation stuff. And I just felt like if our mental prep was right and we were locked in and we were in the right mind frame and the right mindset and we cared about the details, that result would take care of itself. And they did that, and I thought it was for the most part a full 40 minutes. So from a coaching standpoint, it was a really good day for our program.
And how were you able to get those last few stops? Because it was a battle back and forth there, the final handful of minutes, and then you got just enough stops there in those last couple of minutes to kind of salt that one away. What was the key to that?
We did. I think the key was, our guys were engaged the entire game, and our huddles and timeouts were really good. They were talking about the right stuff, and so I just knew that they had that laser focus, and they were determined to find a way, whatever it took, whether that was getting stops or getting a basket to win. And so when you have that drive and that confidence, and you're hungry to get it done, I knew they'd find a way, and they did.
And Guardsy wants to talk about the end of the game. I want to go to the start because, coaches probably really never know how you might have a feel for how the team's going to come out. And coming off of that game in Lincoln, I suppose you were hoping your team would come out, fired up. And the first couple minutes, maybe not. It was 8-2. And I think, people were wondering what's going on. And then they got their footing under them, hit a shot. And from that point on, it was game on. So you had to feel good about maybe even the little things there, that maybe it wasn't as on edge as you wanted to start, but that didn't get them down to where it was, you're down 20 before you know it.
Yeah, no, right. And I think, some of that start was a little bit of that, Nebraska layover. And it took them, we kind of had to get punched in the mouth a little bit for them to, get out of that and flip their mind frame. And I think, once we're able to get the first basket to fall, they kind of settled in and became the aggressor. So I think it was just a little bit of carryover from the previous game. And again, haven't been able to practice much. So it takes, I thought it would take maybe the first 4 minutes for them to realize, okay, this is what it is. We're in this street fight, and we got to be ready to put our competitive hats on. And again, I think they made the adjustment, and it was kind of downhill from that in terms of the mind frame.
Eric Curry, volume shooter, 6th year. And now he's shooting 19 times. Were you as surprised as Jess Settles and Corey Provis appeared to be that Penn State was kind of giving him that 15-footer, which he's going to make the rest of his life at Lifetime Hoops or YMCA? That 15-foot jumper. I mean, the fact that they were basically giving that to him, how surprised were you? And EC just kept knocking him down.
You know what? Not really, but just because that's kind of their defense. They ice or down those side ball screens. And so we just talked about if they stick with what they do defensively, you got to be able to pop and be ready to catch and shoot. And Peyton's got to be ready to have 2 on the ball and draw 2 and kick. And so we talked about it, and I was more worried because the first one was an air ball.
Right. Took him a while.
Yeah, knowing Eric, it was like, all right, here we go. Now he's going to be in his own head. He's not going to want to shoot the next one. If he does, it's going to be short. But he was able to block it out. And I just kept telling him, you have to be ready to shoot the next one. And, eventually I think a good shooter is going to see that one go in, and it just takes that one, and then it snowballs from there. And he was confident and comfortable, and had a big game. And we needed it because, again, you got to exploit what the other team was willing to give up. And we were able to do that.
So when his three was in the air, what do you think? Because there was definitely no hesitation on that one when Peyton just flipped it back to him.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I was actually, I was tempted to run a play for him to get him another three. And then I had that inner battle during a timeout about, all right, am I being greedy as a coach now? And I putting him in a position, because that first one was in flow and rhythm, and it was almost like, he wasn't thinking. It's different when you dial it up for a guy because he's going to be thinking about it. And so I had that kind of inner battle for about 30 seconds and decided not to.
Well, he has hit. I mean, it was his first one this year, but he has hit some in his career, and that's a shot he can hit. I don't know if that's a shot, like you say, you want to dial one up and design for him when you got a Willis and a Battle and a Lowy and some others that if you're going to take that shot from that distance. But that said, as Guardsy said, they were in terms of how they played defense, they were leaving him open, and he was knocking him down. It was a nip, and after that slow, I guess what we said, 2 minutes, then you guys fought back, took the lead, and then it was really back and forth for the rest of the half. And then it was really Curry, I thought. You guys pretty much controlled that second half. They got back in it. You were up 9 a couple of times, and Curry had 6 straight on. Ended with the 3-pointer. He also had a 3-point play the possession before, posting up. So how fun was it to see that team click a little bit too, and run out to that 9-point edge and know that you're seizing control of a game?
Yeah, it was good because, I just proved the point that we had talked about that, again, we can't be the victim, and that was kind of my pregame talk is we're not the victim here. It's not like, the woe is me, we've got unfortunate injuries, we're on a losing streak. It's like, no, you can't have that victim mind frame. And I think going into that second half, that was really important. And my point was like, if we get the lead, instead of worrying about, trying to hold on, it's like, let's extend the lead. That's where you got to learn how to play with a lead. You don't play with a lead to be passive. You play with a lead to extend it and be even more aggressive and play even more downhill. And so I think our guys did do that, and they played on the attack. And, it's always good when there's a little bit of room and separation and score. You don't want every game to come down to the last 4 minutes, and we were able to do that. And again, Penn State, Micah does a really good job, and he's got some good players. So we knew, that they weren't just going to lay over, but we had to force the issue more in that second half, and I thought we did.
Speaking of Micah, like, what is it? We talked, I think, about Penn State because at the time that game hadn't been postponed yet, but you talked about his NBA background with Brad Stevens and the stuff he ran offensively. So as he's kind of navigating through a game and clearly trying to move chess pieces around to get matchups that he likes, what's that like for you guys as a staff to try to counter move the different things that he's trying to do there late?
Yeah, no, you're always, I'm watching who he's got subbing in, who's guarding who, what his matchups are looking like. Eventually at some point they went really small, and then that's when I made the decision to take Eric out and counter and go small again so we could switch everything. And kind of take away the advantage that they thought they had with Eric and ball screens. So it's always the game within the game, and, whether it's changing up your ball screen coverage late to give them a different wrinkle, whether it's changing up your defense with man or zone to give them a wrinkle. I think, the big key is, who they've got in the game so that we can figure out, I can figure out what I'm going to run offensively, where we can take advantage to get guys shots and get guys scores. And, no, that's the fun part about this league is the coaching is so good. It keeps you on your toes, and you're always having to really think. I mean, there's definitely no nights off.
It was kind of fun to see that small lineup too. I think Jamison Battle for a number of minutes was the tallest guy on the floor for both teams, and basically it was 10 guards playing up and down. I was joking on the air. It's like the 6'5" and under league or something you got going, but it was kind of fun. And I thought Sutherland did bring some energy off the bench, and he's kind of like equivalent, I guess, of the hockey guy that isn't scared to go in and take on somebody and dive for a ball and strip a ball out of somebody's hands. I thought he was a key factor in that second half.
No, he was, and that's Sean's role. I mean, that's who Sean is, and that's if Sean wants to play extended minutes, Sean does stuff like that. If Sean wants to really help impact winning and help our program, that's got to be who he is, and he's got to be picky and choosy of when he goes offensively. Especially now as the scouting reports on him and everybody's kind of playing him for the drive. But I thought he posted up strong. He got some good, penetration and action in the paint off drives and post ups. And then defensively, he's one of our more athletic guys, if not the most athletic guy, that strength wise and just athleticism can defend at this level and can take guys out of their stuff. And he doesn't mind being physical. He's got some fight to him. He's got some grit to him. And I think he's kind of embraced it, and he kind of thinks he's the defensive stopper. So we'll take it, and and we'll ride his wave. But no, he does. He brings a competitive toughness to us that our team needs.
All right, let's take our first break here. We want to thank Sunbelt Business Advisors. They should be on your team roster if you're buying or selling a business, and there's never been a better time to sell than right now. Get your Sunbelt no-cost confidential business valuation today. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. That's sunbeltminnesota.com. Go for hoops tonight. We take air at 7. It's a 7:30 tip, Minnesota and Ohio State. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield. Welcome back. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with head coach Ben Johnson, Mike Grimm, and Justin Gard with you. Our show is sponsored by Sunbelt Business Advisors. Go to sunbeltminnesota.com. Coach, you're in the midst here of this 7-day stretch where you got 4 games in 7 days. Penn State, obviously, this past Saturday, the Buckeyes tonight, and then you play Penn State again Thursday, an afternoon tilt, staying on the road here this week to get that done, and then returning home Saturday night for an afternoon, or Saturday afternoon, I should say, game against Northwestern. So how are you trying to, kind of get the week filtered out, make sure guys are fresh, but also, sharp and know the game plan and all of that stuff?
Well, hopefully the players look at it as a major positive. I mean, all these guys want to do is play games anyway. So, they should have energy and juice. Now it's our job as a staff and my job to make sure that they have legs. I think that's the important thing. Even going back to Saturday where some guys played some heavy minutes. We won't do much, if anything, on the court. It'll be a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of video, a lot of hotel ballroom, even limited during shoot around, just because you don't want something you do on Monday to impact even the Saturday game, because, it's going to. And so guys got to be smart with just staying off their feet, and we'll do mandatory recovery and rehab and treatment. Make sure they get a good amount of sleep, and hopefully we have the energy and the juice for 3 straight games this week to perform well. And it's funny, once I think after this week we only have like 3 or 4 games left.
Right.
So you're getting a chunk out. So it's like, fellas, we have nothing to save in the tank. Like, you got to start letting it all out, because it's gonna be close to the end here quickly.
40 minutes for Luke Lowy the other day. He's done that a time or two. He clearly had juice. Did you know that he had ankle breaking in his repertoire? I mean, that crossover and that and one, that's one you freeze on the film, isn't it? And just watch the guy blow by him. Because I haven't seen that from Luke Lowy. That was pretty amazing. No,
it was about time. The thing we froze was CD's reaction on the bench afterwards. And the funny thing is, I was actually telling Luke to slow it down because I didn't know he was going to do that or had that in his game. So I'm yelling at him to slow it down, and he tuned me out and went right at the kid. So it went in. So who cares? But no, I think that's a translation of what his mindset's been probably the last month, where he's in attack mode, and I think it goes back to he doesn't want it to end. I think he he's a kid that's fully embraced this team this year, this opportunity, and he's playing good basketball. I think some of this is that senior desperation. You know, they don't want it to end, and you know, he's been a workhorse for us. You know, couldn't be more excited that we're able to have him this year and coach us, and he's obviously a big piece of this foundation of what we're doing. And you know, he had a really good game, and hopefully continue for his sake, like, you know, the rest of these seniors, to keep producing and ending it on their terms and ending it the right way.
Well, that second half stretch, I mean, he had a really good stretch there, you know, really with a lot of things, with assists, with the 3-point play, which again was hilarious. But, you know, jumpers and things like that. I mean, that's, you don't win games without stretches like that from different guys, right? And it seemed like Saturday, everybody kind of had their moment there at different times.
No, you don't, especially, you know, from EJ and Luke and Sean and Eric, you know, because everybody's going to key in on Peyton and Jameson. I mean,
right.
We all know that. And so now when the supporting cast can come in and produce and be productive, that's huge. And it opens it up for everybody. Because you have to make the defense pay for how they're going to choose to defend and to guard us. And those guys did a great job of kind of being that supporting cast. And they're more than capable. I think that's the other thing, is like I keep telling them, like, you guys are good players. Like, you guys can make plays. You have it in you. You know, go do it. You know, you don't have to wait. Like, it's okay. We can get 5 guys in double figures. But I think that's the reason why, you know, we're able to score 76, and Penn State doesn't give up 76, you know, and you know, I think we just had a good offensive game from a mindset standpoint, and that hopefully will carry us this week.
And that, following up on Guardsy's question on that killer crossover from Lowy, and you thinking, hey, maybe he should slow it down, or signaling that, what is, as a head coach, that fine line? Because I know Sutherland, I think, had one where it was a one-on-one move, and he blew by the guy and got a layup, where he could have held up and let everybody else catch up, which I think is the preferred deal. You want to run some time, you want to run some offense, but where do you fall if a guy has a lane and can get to the hoop? Are you okay with that guy? Obviously, if they score, all things are good, but what do you coach your team up in that regard in terms of transition offense?
Yeah, I think it comes down to who is it, who has the ball, and time and score. I think, you know, myself and other coaches only get mad if it's a time and score issue, and you do it when you don't. It doesn't need to be done. Yeah. Right. And you either need to burn clock, or, you know, you need to get into somebody else's hands who's maybe gets fouled, who's maybe a little bit better free throw shooter, just stuff like that you factor in. Or if it's a guy who just is forcing the issue and can't make that play, you don't need him making that play at the end of the game. So I think it's just a lot of it is that it's personnel driven, and it's time and score. And I think if those things are all even, then yeah, I want my guys to attack and play downhill and not take their foot off the pedal.
From that standpoint too, and I don't think we've talked about this on the show before, maybe you haven't had this situation come up, but as a head coach now, you're the guy that may have to deliver news like, hey, we need you not to shoot a 3, or we need you not to take the ball to the hoop. We need you to do this or that. How, as a coach, do you go about that philosophically when maybe you have to deliver a message to a player that thinks, one, maybe he didn't want to hear the message, or two, he might even disagree with the message a little bit? How does that, what's your approach there?
I just think you got to go right at it. You know, I think you got to, it is what it is. Like, in the heat of the moment, you're trying to win a game. Like, these guys know it's not personal. But I think they've also done a good job of not putting me in a situation I have to say that, because they know they shouldn't be doing that. You know, I think sometimes half the battle is getting the players throughout the course of the year to realize, you know, what their strengths are, or what their role might be, or what's expected of them. So you're not always policing that, and you're not always have to, you know, hopefully in February, you're not talking to guys about stuff that they shouldn't be doing, that they can't do. You know, you'd want to think that they've learned that, or been told that, or understand that before. So, but I think if it happens, yeah, you gotta address it. Those guys know it's not personal. We're all on the same page. We're all on the same team. We all want to win, and we're all in favor of what gives us the best chance to win.
And from that standpoint, maybe in a game, like you said, in the heat of the moment, you'd say something. Are there times too where maybe you have to be more strategic about it, and it's maybe an off day, and you say, hey, so-and-so, stop in the office. I need to talk to you about something. I mean, does that happen often, or not that often?
You're on the practice court, or even at a timeout. Like, there's ways to manipulate things in a timeout where, you know, if you want a player to do something specific that doesn't involve shooting, there's ways to get that across to make, what they're doing still valuable, because it is. There's times where I've had Sean drive to kick and not drive to score, or, have a guy post up, and get to their spot in the paint to draw defenders to maybe get a kick out or a back cut. So, I think there's always that. And our guys get it. Our guys are very understanding. There's not a lot of ego where guys are going to, refute that. And I think at the same time, they know and they trust that positions that I put them in is for the team's success. It's for the betterment of what we're trying to do. And so because of that, we haven't had much pushback.
18 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 turnover for Peyton, 40 minutes. Good coach when that happens, right? I mean, that's I don't know what to say about it, but I feel like we kind of take him for granted sometimes because he's just so smooth and just that's kind of his production a lot. But what a performance by him all over the court.
Yeah, it's scary because we're gonna. Well, I mean, we all know it. That see him every day and around him every day. What we're gonna miss next year when he's not here. Mm-hmm. Because you look at his assist to turnover, you look at just his pace of play, his understanding, his ability to make, key plays with the pass or with scores, his ability to shoot, confidence never wavers, temperament never wavers. He's just that even keel type of player. Going to be a huge loss. I mean, even, when you look at our entire backcourt, it's going to be really tough to replace these 3 guys. They just bring so much to the table, and a lot, sometimes even measured by box score. It's measured by everything else that they do in the locker room, on the practice court, in game that maybe doesn't get the glory. And Peyton's the leader of it. A guy that just I think is playing one of the best. He's played the best he's played in a long time, maybe in his career. And I think is one of the best players and definitely one of the best guards in this league.
Yeah, and you think you can find a loophole and get him a 7th year or something? Find a waiver, some reason to bring him back. That would be fun.
It would be fun
for us. Maybe not him. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want a 7th year of college, but for us, it'd be great to watch again.
Oh no, selfishly, it'd be awesome for us. I think if you're looking at him, the guy's going to be like 25 next year. I don't think he's hanging around with the 4 18-year-olds that we got coming in or whatever it is. I think he's ready to move on, and he's deserved it. I think that's the other cool part is he's playing his best basketball at the right time because he's going to have momentum going into the spring, and hopefully he gets some looks and gets to live out his dream. But whatever it is, his game is headed in the right direction at the right time for him.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We have the long contested 2. We have our question of the day. All of that is straight ahead. We want to remind you and invite you to be part of one of Minnesota's most popular running events. It's back live and in person. It's the 12th annual Goldies Run, set for Saturday, April 3rd at Huntington Bank Stadium. Runners and their families have the option of choosing a 10-mile, a 5K, or a half-mile Goldies Gallop. You do that around the stadium. Registration and other information can be found at goldiesrun.com. Goldies Run is brought to you by longtime partner Abbott. Go to goldiesrun.com. This is Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield. Welcome back. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with head coach Ben Johnson. It's sponsored by Sunbelt Business Advisors, also by the University of Minnesota Bookstore. If you have a question for Coach Johnson, go to gophersports.com/askthecoach and submit your question. If yours is selected as question of the week, you'll receive a $25 gift card to the University of Minnesota Bookstore, and we will ask the head coach the question. Are you ready for the question of the week?
Ready.
All right.
Big build up.
Tim from Albany, Minnesota says, what's the key in keeping top talent in Minnesota home? Have you ever been asked that one before?
This is new.
Breaking new ground here. That's our question of the week.
Really nice church in Albany, right off 94. You can see it. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. I can help you keep you in state. I know everything about it. Albany. I just knocked it out. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well answered. No, I think the key is just identifying them and being consistent with not only your message, but with your attention and with your intent. And I think it's, winning helps and having something positive to sell where people believe in it and there's kind of momentum towards it But I think at the end of the day, it's a people business, and you got to be able to relate. You got to be able to motivate, and you got to be able to paint a picture of why this place is special and why and how their impact can help us and help them long term. So there's a lot of things you do in between those, but I think to sum it up, it's just that it's you gotta people want to know they're wanted, and you got to make sure they understand that, and they want to know why and how they can impact. And so it's our job every single day to stay on top of the good ones that can help us and hopefully land a few.
All right, very good. There's the question of the day. Now Guardsy's really diving in. He's got the long contested 2. JG?
Were you able to watch the Super Bowl? You worry me sometimes because you're so basketball centric, which is good, I guess, as the head coach. You probably shouldn't have a lot of outside interest, but were you able to watch any of the Super Bowl on Sunday?
I was.
Well, on the TV show, you picked the Bengals. You went upset pick. You thought the Bengals were going to do it. Looked good till about 6 minutes left. I mean, what was your reaction overall to the game before we talk about more important stuff?
I thought Cincinnati had it. And, I actually thought they were going to get one more score. And when Burrow went down, that worried me a little bit. I just felt a momentum flip. And then when Kupp started to get loose, what's crazy? The dude always seems like he's open. I don't understand it. And it's like, I know he's really good, but they were down to one receiver really, and it was him and a bunch of backups. And it just, as the drive started to go, you just got the feeling that this kid was going to make plays. And it was just it did not, if you're a Bengals fan, it did not sit well. And they could not cover that guy. And, credit to Stafford and him. I mean, they went the length of the field and did what they needed to do with a shortened offensive roster and deserved the win. So.
Well, and I think the numbers I heard on Monday morning were in the playoffs, Stafford and Cooper Kupp were in the fourth quarter were 12 targets, 12 completions for 9 first downs. I mean, it's a lesson where it's everyone in the building knows who's going to make the plays, right? I mean, you guys all know that in your game. It's everybody knows where the ball is going, but you still got to be able to figure it out if you're Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. That's what I want to know, how they did it. Did they move them around a little bit? Did they do a different formation? Because it's not like they just lined up and did stuff, and those guys just went and made plays. It's incredible.
No, I know they put him in motion a couple of times to take away the cover 2 and the doubles, but I think it too, at the end of the day, that's a driven dude. I mean, he was making plays, and that's what it's about. You can draw up and scheme and do all that, but you've got to find a way to get open. But the other thing too is you could tell Stafford was laser focused on that guy. From the minute he broke the line, it was you knew where that ball was going, and the defense couldn't do anything about it because they had stopped the run. I mean, the run was non-existent. But they just found a way to play in space, and it was impressive.
We're going to lose Grimmer here now if we haven't already lost him. As a fellow child of the 90s, what did you think of the halftime show?
Oh, I loved it. I think it's the weird thing is Eminem's got to be close to 50.
Yeah.
If he's not,
I think Dre's 56, Snoop's 50 something, Eminem's 49.
Snoop is 51.
Mary J. I mean, man, I remember, 4th, 5th grade. What's the 411 album from her? And Snoop. I remember, when he first came out. I mean, that was the whole. I'm a West Coast guy, so that was right up my alley. But I think it's just crazy now to see, that those guys are older now.
Oh yeah.
And there's no way, the younger generation knows or respects or understands just the musical movement that those artists had. And Eminem. It was cool.
So you mentioned the younger generation. Do your players have? Because for us, I mean, you're 40-ish. I'm 40-ish. There was a series of great tweets about it. But if you like the halftime show last night, it's time to schedule your colonoscopy. Was one of them. Just totally true. It's a great line because we're all about that same. But do your players have any idea? Do you come in fired up today about the halftime show and the kids are what's the big deal? Who are those guys? Or do they have a respect for those?
No, they know. But if I were to play, Stump from the Chronic, I don't think they'd be oh yeah, I know this song. There's no way. But I tell them all the time, it's especially Snoop. That dude's so iconic.
Yeah.
He is like, man, worldwide, with his brand. And when those guys were doing music, it's just so different than what you hear now. And not that the music now is bad, but just like it's different, man. And I think our guys like it. I don't know if they see the huge deal, because millennials, man, it's a different world. It's a different world.
We become the old guys. We become the old guys in the room. It happens fast.
It happens really fast, but it's good to go down, memory lane a little bit and relive those 90s, and it takes you back for sure.
Grammer, you have any advice now that we're becoming the old guy in the room? I mean,
I
saw you at the 80s cover band when we were in Bloomington all those years ago, just living your best life. And I was wondering what was going on.
I very much enjoyed, though, the halftime show yesterday. I thought it was
great.
Excellent.
It was great.
Like, it had to be one of the top handful of shows all time. I was curious, so I went on and looked. Have you guys ever looked at what the halftime shows were pre about 1990?
Well, it'd be like high school bands, college bands.
Like the 1989 halftime show was an Elvis impersonator. Straight up, that's what it was.
He did a hell of a show.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a hell of a show. And then it's like the Grambling State Marching Band played in like 6 different halftime shows in the 70s and 80s. So, that's a show. If you have ever seen the Grambling State Marching Band, that's a whole nother deal. But anyway,
I think that's impressive is how quickly they clear the field.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like that thing was fully tarped. It had obviously all the the bells and the whistles for the performance. And then just like that, in one commercial break, it's all gone because those guys got to get on there right away and warm up. How
about the kicker taking it all in for the Bengals? You see that? He's speaking of living his best life. He's just hanging out on the sideline.
Yeah, and I respect it because there's no reason to be in the locker room. Like he
has no adjustments.
No, none of that matters.
It's like a 45-minute halftime for the Super Bowl. Like, what's he gonna do, right?
Enjoy it, man. Like the guy ended up not even. Yeah,
they didn't need him.
So,
they didn't need him. Yeah, it was solid. No, I loved it. And well, go ahead, Grimmer.
Well, I was going to say to answer the question. Yeah, you guys are both at about the age, and I remember it, where you go from being, well, he's just a young up and comer and you're working with old people to it happens in a flash that you're now the old guy working with young people. And, and it happens all of a sudden. I'm the young guy up and comer and working with old people. And then all of a sudden 23-year-old Spencer Tollickton's my partner. And I'm now whatever it was, and now I'm the old guy. And I'm like, how did that happen? It's crazy. So yeah, you're at about the age where it's gonna start, you're going to start seeing that. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Oh, it's happened. I've had recruits that have come on. I'll be talking to the parents and they're like, yeah, when I played, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're a year apart. And you got an 18-year-old, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
It's home a little bit.
No doubt.
Yeah. We got to grow up one of these days, I guess, is what it tells you.
No, that's the key.
Apparently.
Never grow
Stay
up.
young.
Stay young. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. I talked with John Anderson, in fact, yesterday. He's 66, just signed a new 2-year deal. And he talked about the energy he gets from being around kids and being at the ballpark, right? I mean, that's one of my favorite things in the world was one, coaching my son in baseball, playing baseball myself, but just being around the ballpark and the energy. And I'm sure, Coach, every time you step up on that elevated floor at Williams Arena for a practice or in the Land O'Lakes Center, and there's 18 to 24-year-olds, and you might be an old guy to some people, but that's got to energize you every single day of your life.
It does. It in a good way, it forces you to stay young because you have to continue to relate. And you got to know kind of what's going on. Like if I went around these people, I wouldn't know about the Snapchats or this or that or different apps that you can use. And, you'd be, unless you had XM, you're not into the music. You're not into like the dress and the style and the slang and what kids care about now, what they don't, what they go through. So it does. It definitely, and then fliply, I'm so used to communicating with them that I'll be like in a group chat with my peers and they'll look at how I text stuff out and they'll be like, dude, grow up. What are you talking about right now? You're abbreviating all this stuff or you're texting like you're an 18-year-old because that's who I text with all the time, whether it's players or recruits. And like you try to get into an adult conversation, you're saying stuff you got to explain because like the room doesn't know what that means or what you're referencing, and you get pissed because they don't know about, this thing on social media or this thing that's a huge boom. So it's that balance of like keeping everybody, informed, I guess.
Well, we look forward to your TikTok channel whenever you drop that. Whenever the Ben Johnson TikTok comes, you let us know and we'll promote it. We'll make sure you got followers. We can help you out with all of that.
I'll be there as soon as you two guys are. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, one quick thing before we take the break, because I thought this, and I'm trying to think if this is your age group too. I was seeing the promos last night and the day before, over the weekend with the new Fresh Prince thing.
The Bel Air spinoff.
Yeah,
what is that?
So I guess apparently it's a little darker version of, a kind of a remake of the deal that, and Will Smith is going. I love the show. I think Will Smith's a genius. The old show. And I don't know, were you guys too young for that, or was that wheelhouse for you guys too?
No, wasn't that that was the outfit that his grandma bought him, I thought. The Fresh Prince outfit.
You had the Will Smith outfit, right?
I was huge on Fresh Prince every day. I'll still watch it. Fresh Prince. You had Family Matters.
Yeah.
You had Living Single. You had the whole TGIF.
Got the whole must-see Friday night, baby.
Kids don't know about TGIF, man. Boy Meets World was in that mix too. Step by Step for a while. The kids don't know about TGIF.
Urkel, the whole
Urkel.
Will Smith was iconic. I remember that. Where you come home every day and you're watching the Fresh Prince. You're different world. That was with Whitney. That was like, that was
right.
In living color.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, I'll be interested. I think I'm going to try watching that. I think it's on the app or something, right? A Peacock app or whatever. But it'll be. I'm eager to dive in and see, because I haven't gotten a show.
What else they're doing that they're coming out with is another version of the Wonder Years.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's Grimmer's. That's your wheelhouse, isn't it, Grimmer?
I didn't watch that show much, but this is a whole new version, right, Ben? I think this is like an African American family, right?
Yeah, it's like a black perspective.
Yeah.
Of the show, and I saw that it was coming out, and I had to go on. I think it was Hulu, and I had to watch at least one of the old school shows, and it's just so cool because it's different. You had the story was told through the narrator. That basically was Fred Savage's brain thinking, kind of guided you through the show, which is you just don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, hey, it sounds like we got some work to do on this road trip during the flights. We got some stuff to watch. Ben will be breaking down film, and Tolixon and I will be watching.
You'll be on Bel Air.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. We will wrap it up. We'll look ahead to tonight's game, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the opposition. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield. It's our final segment, Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson, Mike Grimm, and Justin Gard, along with the head coach. It's presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors. Check them out if you're buying or selling a business at sunbeltminnesota.com. Gopher Hoops tonight here on the Gopher Radio Network, Minnesota and Ohio State. The tip-off is 7:30. We take air at 7 Minnesota time from Columbus. Coach, it hasn't been that long ago you guys faced the Buckeyes back home in Minneapolis. Has much changed since then? And give us a little scouting report on OSU.
Yeah, not much has changed. They've maybe added one or two things that are new offensively, but you get to this point of the year, I think most teams are trying to, make your strengths elite. And so you're not going to see a whole bunch of tweaking that's going to cause a drastic change in your game prep. So I think a lot of it now is going back to the first game that we played, and just really analyzing, how they defended us and what they like to do offensively. And if there is a little slight tweak we can do to get an advantage on both sides of the ball, but then also emphasize what we did really well and make sure that we continue to do that really well. That'll be the key. But, they're a really good team. Coach Holman does a great job. Obviously, tough to win on the road, so you're going to have to battle the elements, and they got really good players. So, we're going to have to bring it tomorrow or today to get the win.
One tweak you get to make is Eric Curry plays this time, which I have to imagine is helpful from the last time he played the Buckeyes. The offensive rebounding for them really was kind of the formula, right? They just wore you out there on the offensive glass.
Yeah. No, that was the game. We've got to do a much better job, whether that's in our zone or in our man, of being able to be really good in our first shot defense. Gotta own the defensive glass. Because with that being said, the sick part is we still had a chance to win. I mean, we were, first half, I thought we played really well. And then the second half, you have a chance to win it despite, giving up all those opportunities and giving them second chance looks. So that's the encouraging part. Now, the hard part is actually go out there and do it. Because like I said, they've got good players and one of their strengths is playing that tough physical style. So they'll be relentless on the glass. I know that.
Yeah, and one of the things, you guys talked about Stafford and Cup, and everyone knew it was, that they were going to Cup. There was a point in that second half where they went to either Key or Young, it seemed. And again, without Curry, that was a logical deal. So, and it was hard to stop once it got going, those guys. So now with Curry, how does that change that part of it? Not just rebounding, but just defending the rim too.
Yeah, no, you hope that he brings obviously the strength and the physicality piece. Eric's tough to score against when he does his work early, and you don't have to rely so much on shrinking the floor or doubling down, and he can kind of man the fort. But then I think more importantly, he's got to be a guy that helps control the glass, and maybe he doesn't get the rebound, but X5 doesn't get it. Whether that's Key, whether that's Young, whether that's Liddell. Being able to neutralize those guys. And then we got a gang rebound. So, guards got to come down and get dirty and secure all those loose balls and get the 50-50 balls and help our bigs rebound. So it's a challenge that I know, our guys are going to look forward to because I think they realize they played well and they know they were right there to get a big time win and that stings. So now the competitive spirit's got to come out where it's payback.
JG, you get the last question.
Well, I do. I got one kind of random one because we've asked you about when you call a play from the sideline and it works beautifully and you feel like you're the greatest coach in the world. I got a question when it's the opposite from the Penn State game, and I probably buried this, but Peyton hits a free throw after a three-point play. I think you go into that three-quarter court zone press defense, and Penn State comes right down and hits a three. What's that like as a coach when you think you're like, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to slow them down, and then the other team just goes bang, bang, bang for a three? I mean, do you look and go, well, that was stupid? Or do you just put that one in the bag? Or do you just move on and say, well, okay, we probably won't try that the rest of the game?
No, I mean, all of the above. All of the above. It's one of those where it's,
because you feel like you're tricking them, right? They're not going to see this coming, and then bang.
Well, it just you feel like, okay, is this something that could maybe pause them for a minute, or can we get something, and can you ride the wave of momentum, and now all of a sudden you make two good plays, or you get them out of doing something that they don't want to do or not comfortable doing after you've made a good play. Just kind of that whole momentum thing. And I'm a big believer. I think, to win in this league, especially this year for us, you got to kind of let them hang a little bit, and you got to do some things that you got to gamble. You got to be willing to roll the dice. Now, when it doesn't work out, I'm the first guy that's just like, that was stupid. What were you thinking? It's happened a couple of times this year where I've gotten a little too cute and it's cost us. And so now your next phase is, okay, that better not cost us the game. And there was enough time where it didn't, but that is your worry. But at the same time, if you don't do it, or you don't do something that your gut tells you to do, then you're always thinking like, well,
what if
that way? Should I have done it? And so I'd rather err, and I could live with the side of it. My gut's telling me to do something, to do it, and then I got to be willing to live with the results. I think it's a lot harder for me if I'm too conservative, or if I don't do something that my gut tells me to do, and it doesn't work out, and you almost play it safe, or you play it to whatever. That's harder to live with for me.
Yeah, I think you were up 9 and there was plenty of time, like you say. So, and who knows, you get a steal there or a turnover and all of a sudden you're up double digits. But I kind of laugh.
Yeah, or you're forced to, you're always looking at like, okay, we're up 9. If there's a way we can force another bad shot, or is there a way we can throw them out the rhythm, and now it's like, can you go from 9 to 11 versus having them come down and just run their man-o. And so that's what I was thinking. It wasn't necessarily, man, we get a steal. It's just like, God, if we can find a way to steal another miss, now all of a sudden we come down, it's 11, it's breathing room. And, did not work. I forget what game it was too. We went to, and it was so dumb. It was in the shot clock, and it was in a timeout, and I said, we're gonna go man to zone with about 10 on the clock. Now it's something we had worked on,
Yeah.
But there was 20, and it was a short clock. So I want to say there was maybe 20 when they inbounded it. And I was like, we're going to show man, but then at 10, and I don't care what spots you are in the zone except for the 5-man, but we're dropping into 2. And, it sounds great, and you're going to like
trick everybody.
And just, it was like, boom, we get in it. I think 3 guys were in it, 2 guys were late, and it was just like, bang, good shot. You're just going, just idiot. Just stick with just being normal and just get another stop, But I don't know. It's you, yeah.
It's the beauty of sports. It's the beauty of sports.
I love it.
That's why we love it. Well, you guys get your Dre beats on. Listen to some Snoop Dogg here today, and we'll have hoops tonight. All right. We'll see you at the arena, Coach.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. It's the Buckeyes and Gophers tonight. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.